everybody, this is Sarah Ripple with Ripple Effect Fitness. I am feeling so generous today, so I'm going to shoot another little clip. I have a tendency to take little breaks like this in the middle of my workout, but I have the luxury of having about a 2-hour block right now where I have it devoted to my own workout, which is awesome. So I got a little time to play around with. So just hit heavy front squats, worked up to 170 for a single, so I've been incrementally trying to bump those up every week. Now I'm going to start doing snatches, so I'm going to hit my kind of snatch progression sequence as a warm-up first, and then follow that with working up to a heavy single on snatches, followed by some percentage work. And then I'm supposed to clean and jerk after that, so we'll see how that goes. But what I wanted to kind of point out is, since I have a lot of clients that I've got doing overhead presses, okay, and everyone's doing a really good job with it, I tend to be more of a fan of kettlebell overhead pressing for the average person rather than a barbell, because I like the fact that it's a unilateral movement. I like the fact that the kettlebell, because of its design, it places the weight on the back of the arm, so it really opens up the shoulder. But with that being said, the basic barbell lifts do have their place. So implementing them at the right time, and then knowing kind of where strengths and limitations, of course, for every client from a trainer's perspective that's important. So what I want to point out is essentially 3 things, all limited to 3 because I could talk forever, with regards to overhead pressing with the barbell. So because of a barbell, because of its fixed nature, it must travel in front of your face. We're going to talk about that. The first thing I want to talk about is just creating engagement throughout the entire kinetic chain for nerds, or body for lay people. So that's going to be the first thing I'm going to talk about. The second thing is going to be essentially shifting your weight, for lack of a better way of explaining it, underneath the bar as you press up. And the third thing is going to be just achieving a solid vertical bar. Well, in that you're achieving a solid vertical bar path, but a solid finish position overhead in that lockout. So first thing, and I don't really need to pick the bar up to show this, but when I talk about creating engagement throughout the body, this goes for any exercise we're doing. I was talking with my clients in group training, one of my groups, last week about just the same thing. I think about it, and this comes from, I believe, yoga, but also in the kettlebell world, they talk about rooting. So if you plant your feet into the ground, what we're trying to do is get you connected. So if you're just standing here kind of like ho-hum, relaxed, not really engaging things from the ground up, the rest is going to go to crap, okay? So if it's not solid down here, the foundation, then as you go upstream, the integrity of the whole chain is going to decrease. So what I think about is, for overhead pressing, we want to stand with roughly a hip width stance, okay, kind of your jumping stance. I tend to toe out just a little bit, okay, everyone's different. But the cue that I like is that you're essentially like spinning your feet on dinner plates away from each other, or spreading the floor, whatever you want to think about it. Kelly Starrett calls it creating torque. But you're not doing this, okay, but you're trying to do that. So root your feet into the floor, get tight through here, okay, so my butt's tight, my legs are engaged, everything's firing, okay? And what that's going to do is, as you press, it's going to keep you from getting movement at this lumbar spine. It's going to stabilize you there to where we move through the T-spine to press. So that's the first thing, is creating engagement, just basically setting a solid foundation for each rep. So second thing I'm going to talk about is going to be, I think I said, I don't remember which order, but we're going to talk about shifting your body weight underneath the bar. So hopefully this is going to be viewable. But when we overhead press, we're going to take it out of the rack. We're going to stand. Let's see. We'll take this off. Okay. So, got everything engaged. Butt's tight. Pelvis is neutral. If I stay here just relaxed, I want to tilt big time. So, got to keep that in check. So, what I think about in terms of shifting your weight, I take a big breath, and then I pull my head back. So if you look at my head, I think about it as being kind of like a Pez dispenser. You're taking your chin and essentially pushing it back. We're not doing this, we're not tilting, we're retracting. Okay? So it's kind of like a chicken pecking its way through the farmyard, I guess you could say. So you want to pull that chin back. So, good deep breath in, pull that chin back. That clears the bar to be able to go right in front of you, and then press overhead. So if you notice my head position here, I'm forward, my arms are vertical, and then we just kind of reverse it to come back down to start. Okay, so I'm shifting forward without losing my balance. I'm not kind of coming out in front of me, trying to clear my head with the bar. Okay, third thing, so that was shifting and bar path. Third thing will be achieving a nice solid overhead position. So I'm not a big fan of doing behind the neck pressing for most of my clients. I do it myself here and there, but I feel that it's kind of one of those cost to benefit ratio kind of things. Like it's a trade-off. And that goes for anything that we do as trainers and everybody else, any exercise that you do. You have to think about, is it worth doing in terms of my goals, but also in terms of safety and long-term wellness, long-term integrity of my body, all those good things. So for right now, you might think, oh, it's great to do heavy behind the neck presses once a week for, I don't know, 2 months, and not address my shoulder mechanics, not address my T-spine mobility, this, that, and the other. Well, go figure 3 months down the road, you got a little funky shoulder pain going on, you got some clicking, you got weird stuff going on that can be traced back to that behind the neck pressing, where you should have gone and done a few other things that could have laid the groundwork for being able to do that movement. So, to get off my soapbox, if you look at a behind the neck press, so here I am. What's cool about it is it basically it sets you in a good position to finish, okay? Versus having to come from here, you really have to push through and get there. When you behind the neck press, you're already there. So what we're looking for with an overhead press is essentially getting the arms vertical, okay? You don't want to be pressing and be pressing out here. You want to get vertical, okay? And then get your head in the right position there too, while keeping the integrity of the entire kinetic chain. You don't want to shoulder press here. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. It's not terrible, but it could be better. You want to press there. And so probably took way longer than I needed to explain that, but I guess that's how I do things sometimes. So yeah, just 3 pointers for overhead pressing. These can be applied to standing dumbbell presses as well as kettlebell. So creating engagement throughout the whole entire body or kinetic chain. Being able to shift your weight under the bar as the bar travels vertically, creating an optimally vertical bar path. And then third thing is, what was that? Oh, overhead position. So not finishing with the bar in front of you, finishing with it overhead and in a position that's directly over the shoulder. So you'll notice when you get there, it just feels a lot stronger. It's not a resting position, but it kind of feels that way, if that makes sense. If you hit just in front of it, your body's gonna be able to tell the difference versus a nice strong walkout in finished position. So give those 3 things a thought and implement them when you do your overhead pressing. And I'm ending because I need a snatch. So have a great day.